Hi guys, welcome back to session on Python based data science series. In today's session, we are going to discuss about polymorphism. What is polymorphism? The word polymorphism means having many forms. In programming, polymorphism means same function name but different signature being used for different types. It means if you have many functions of different name and different signature, then it is normal. But if you have more than one function definitions with the same name but different signature, or rather different purpose, then it becomes a polymorphism. Polymorphism word refers poly means many and morph means form. In structured and procedural oriented programming, one thing is used for only one reason. But in case of object oriented programming, it recommends one thing can be used for many reasons. And for that reason, we have to apply polymorphism. The literal meaning of polymorphism is the condition of occurrences in different forms. Polymorphism is a very important concept in programming. It refers to use of a single type of entity, method, operator or object to represent different types in different scenarios. Here is an example. As we all know, length is a method which finds out length of a string. Now string is a different data type, but the same length method can apply to list to find out the length of list. At the same time, this same length method is applied for dictionary type of data as well. So one thing that is length is applied for string, list of items as well as dictionaries, that is called as polymorphism. Here is one other example. We have a shape class and which is parent class. It is having its own constructor and a fact method. The square class is extended from shape class, and circle also extended from the shape class. Now square class having its own method as a fact. At the same time, due to inheritance, the fact method also overridden in the square. So this fact method belongs to square, that is called as overriding, because from one base class it is getting its own extended. At the same time, the derived class having its own method. In this way, it become polymorphism. Overloading, overridings are the examples of polymorphism. Let us discuss through examples. Here is the first example. I am just using this length method to apply on the string, on the list, as well as in the second example I am having an add function which is having 3 arguments, but if you define one argument as a default, then you can give a call to the add functions by 2 arguments as well as 3 arguments as well. If you have a function definitions with three arguments, then it has to be compulsory call by giving call by using 3 arguments. But a same function can be referred by 2 arguments as well. By defining one as a default, then it become polymorphism. One thing used for many reasons. Here length applied to string, length applied to list. Here add is performing the operations with 2 arguments as well as 3 arguments as well. Here is the result. It is finding the length of string, length of list, as well as we are adding 2 numbers and the 3 numbers as well. I am having a class definition called as India, and in India there is a method called as capital, language and type. In USA class also there is a method called as capital, language and type. In this manner, every country having their own capital, their own language and the type. Now, object India is object of India, object USA is object of USA. If I set a loop for country in the respective countries, what is polymorphism? Every country have its own capital, language and type. So this country is referring to India as well as country referring to USA, and like one time it will refer to India and give the call to capital, language and type. Second time it will give a call to the USA object and give a call to the method called as capital, language and type. It means that country object reference at a time referring to different countries. At the same time we have only 2 classes here, you may have more. So one object reference is referring to different countries object, that is in that way it become a polymorphism. Here it is. One-to-one and one-to-many. One-to-one procedure-oriented programming, one-to-many object-oriented programming. Here is another example. We have a class bird having method definition intro, flight. A sparrow class is extended from bird and it is having its own method called as flight. So this flight method, as it is extended from the base class as well as having its own method definitions called as overridden method. There is an ostrich class also having a flight method. Now both the classes sparrow and ostrich can refer to the intro, belong to bird, but they are having their own flight method, that is overridden method. In this way they are getting the 2 copies of flight, one is from the base and one of its own. Now here object of bird and object of sparrow and object of ostrich is created. Object of bird intro, object of bird flight, so it is referring to its own intro and flight. Object of sparrow, object of will refer to its own intro and flight, and objects of ostrich also refer to its own intro and flight. It means the flight method is available in the parent class as well as the respective derived classes as well, and in this manner by overriding a method it becomes a polymorphism. We already discussed this kind of example recently. Now there is a cat class having its own constructor, info and make sound. As we know, cat is an animal and it can sound, it can also sound. At the same time we have a dog class. It is having its own constructor as well as info as well as make sound as well. Means these 3 methods having its own constructor, the info and the make sound is common in cat and dog. Now here the instance of cat is created, right, by the name of Kitty and 2.5 age, and dog by the name of Fluffy and 4 as age. And for animal in cat and dog, every animal having similar properties, so animal object reference can refer to cat as well as dog, and animal.makeSound, animal.info, animal.makeSound. So it means it will refer to the methods belongs to cat class, and info as well as the dog class means one object reference referring to many objects, and in this way polymorphism occurs. Here is the shape class having its constructor, area, like dimension of this shape, and its own method. Here is the square class extended from shape, and again having the methods, and the circle class also extended from the shape having its own constructor, area. So here in this case you will find the area method is available in the base class as well as in the derived class, right? So that area method means due to inheritance, one copy of area is going to extend to the derived, but at the same time derived having its own definitions. That is called as overriding, and overriding is an example of polymorphism. Let's run this. Here it is. So means we can able to find out the area of square as well as area of circle. So area is common in all the shapes, and hence it become a polymorphism. By implementing polymorphism, we are extending the limits of the library. One thing we can use for many reasons. In procedural programming, because of its support for one-to-one, one scope or one program having one function definitions, one operator will function one or perform one functionality, one method have a one definitions. But in case of object-oriented programming, because of the feature of polymorphism, one thing used for many reasons. One function definitions may perform with a different number of arguments by changing signatures in one scope. That is called as method overloading. But if a base class also the same method, at the same time in the derived class also have the same method over here with a different purpose and different scope, then it becomes overriding. So in this manner, one object reference can refer to different objects, and hence it becomes polymorphism. Polymorphism is actually extending and giving the ability to use one thing for many reasons. Hope you understand this all the